Gotta clean this place up while that fire burns down so we can have a breakfast. You know? We haven't been out here in a couple of months. I think Bob was saying 3 months. So I'm gonna get my weed eater out, and he's got his going. A little different, huh?
Yeah, we nailed it.
Yeah, Bob was like, you know, I don't like weeds. And so we got plenty of weeds up here. So he pretty much, well, he got rid of the weeds. No weeds. Now, Bob made the comment just a little while back, we're probably going to spend more time with the darn weed whackers than we are with a saw. I've got firewood there that's been sitting for a couple of years and needs to go away. So if anybody wants some firewood, just come up here with a pickup truck and load up. And
that's about the end of its shelf life, that stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, we should look at it. Some of it's still there, but a lot of it's getting to the end of its shelf life. This stuff right in front of us has only got a couple of years, but we got to uncover it, right?
Yeah.
So, what did you bring for a weed whacker?
I got a brush blade on a Husky 323 with the bike handles. Yeah, we're going to start comparing
Weed whackers.
Brush cutters, well, neither one of us are going to run a line head because in this kind of high weed stuff, all you do is splatter yourself with it. So Walt's going with the hedge cutter blade style, and I'm going to do the grass blade style on the trimmer.
We're going to do about 2 minutes of video of this, and then I'm going to shut it off because this is interesting to nobody.
Yeah. Well, you got to clean this thing up. It's Labor Day weekend.
It is.
And there's been a whole summer's worth of junk growing here. Did you get any shots of what we did around the sugar shack?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, because that was a night and day difference. So I'm going to go get mine.
I think this is what? We could call this our first real day of the season?
Yeah, kicking off the saw season.
Yeah.
With brush cutters.
Yeah, that's an FS 110 with the hedge trimmer attachment, that sickle bar thing. That works better than any weed whacker works for cutting down this kind of stuff. We've used it for, oh my God, several years now. I can't tell you how many miles of trails it's trimmed, and tree branches and things like that. Bob's got a similar deal with that blade on the bottom of his. It pretty much takes down brush too. So this is what it looks like after. Uncovered all this wood. And I got to pick through it, and if it's good, I'm going to split it and put it in the barn. If it's not, somebody can have it for an outdoor stove. Just come get it. And other than that, I'm going to push it off into a pile and let it rot. Isn't that a shame? So I got to open up this landing because we got to bring down some more trees. Some to sell and some to turn into firewood. So. So we're kind of getting back into saws a little bit. This is our first day in the fall, and Bob and I came up here and said, this place is a freaking mess. I got stuff laying around here for years. We got to start cleaning this thing up. You can see what we did with the weed whackers, right? To move in the right direction, isn't it? Yeah. And the theme, I think the theme of today was the saws that you want to run versus the saws that you feel like you need to run for some whatever reason, be it testing a build or. And he kind of threw it out to me and says, what would you pick? And of course I kind of threw it out to him. And I think the backdrop of some of his picks is because some of the events in the saw world. And the backdrop behind the picks that I have is pain. It's as simple as that. Is I pick the saws that do the most work with the least amount of pain for me. And I'm kind of late to the party this year doing saw work, you know. So when it came time for me to pick the saws, they all were low vibration derivatives, like the 562s. And I want to introduce a concept. Bob's, you know, I'm not sure he's warmed up to it yet, but I want to come up with my next set of builds are going to be the ultimate old man saws. And they are going to be based on the 555 chassis, because I still think that's the best firewood saw ever built. And what we're going to do is we're going to blend 555 size and weight with 562 components, and that'll be the next build.
I don't know. I think Walt's sort of suffering from he's retiring this year, and just because we're getting old doesn't mean we got to think old. But yeah, the amount of cutting we do in a given time doesn't really put too much pain on us, because we're going to play around a little bit today. And the difference between running the saws for extended periods of time, some of those, you know, anti-vibe and lighter weight, that makes a bigger difference. You know, for me today, it was kind of just, you know, I haven't been up here in about 3 months, and we haven't done one of these goofy videos in 3 months. And to me, this has been a kind of a kick off the saw season and just run some of the old favorites. And that's what I picked. It's stuff that, you know, 4 or 5 years ago they were put together, and they're really good saws. But we've been handicapped or hog-tied to a certain extent the last 4 years maybe. Yeah. Because, you know, tested a lot of stuff, and it was worthwhile, and we learned a lot of stuff and got some information. But first we're evaluating, you know, aftermarket cylinders. And then, you know, we're playing with different kinds of mod concepts and builds on the saws. And we ran a lot of those. Then you have to run time on customer saws. And then you know, Walt got involved in all these, you know, Farmer Tech kit saws, and all those things combined really gobbled up so much of the, you know, the trigger time that we got available. And I'm thinking, you know, we both have pretty nice collections of saws, and it's sort of like, you know what, I want to run some of my old favorites, and I'm not running, you know, the stuff that needs to be run in. So we dragged a few out. They're pretty much everything I brought today was built, what, 4 or 5 years ago. Everything has something in common, which is every saw that I've got today was brought back from the dead. It was a wiped saw, and that was really when Walt and I got started with this back in 2010, 2011. That was the whole thing, is to take dead saws, bring them back to life, and for the most part they were stock. So, and I got a couple more in the Jeep I should drag out. But that's pretty much what we're going to play with today. We may even get some work done later.
stock
Yeah.
Hilltop Saw Shop.
That?
Actually, this was a junk pile build we did a while back. I don't know if it's any faster. It feels like it is. That's got to be a Spike Special.
Yeah, it is.
That thing rips.
Yeah. But what a stock muffler.
It's fine. It's got the compression.
It's my quiet 372.
Yeah.
And I got my, if he watches, Dave, Definitive Dave. Got your shirt on. Chainsaw Conservation Components. Little plug.
I like that guy.
Dave's a good dude. He really is.
Yes, he is. I bet that thing is as fast as my 390.
I don't know about that.
Oh, I bet it is. 390 has a muffler mod, but that's about it, isn't it?
Huh?
It's one of our junk piles. Actually, for 385. I think they're about the same.
Try it. You gotta feel it too. I think 385 is quicker.
Alright, that's deceiving because I cut through a couple of knots. I'm telling you right now, if there's a difference between the 372 and that 385, it's not much. And Bob's got to laugh. This will be the first time I can say on video that his chain cut's better than mine. But if you look
Just
at the
because it's the first time you're willing to say it doesn't mean it's the first time it's happened.
That's true. But you see that knot right there?
Let's slow it down.
That's freaking hard as hell, so don't even bother putting your stopwatch out there because it's not even the same, you know.
Yeah, you can feel it when you're going through it.
Yeah, that sucker was hard. This thing's got good power.
This thing looks to be in better shape maybe than it is. This was one of those reclaimed saws again. If you'll see here, the case is busted. There's no way to bolt that part of the starter in. So it's a little bit banged up there, but this was pieced together with junk. I wanted to have a saw that isn't always, you know, screaming with a piped muffler. Sometimes it's just, you just don't need that all the time.
It's a damn nice saw.
Yeah, actually came out pretty good. Mako piston.
No kidding.
Yeah, those pistons I paid like $5.50 for.
You know, I gotta wonder.
$5.50.
I gotta wonder if one of the reasons why that saw feels as zippy as it does, aren't those Mako pistons lighter than the stock?
I don't know. I've never weighed them.
I bet it picks up RPMs faster. I bet
It accelerates nice.
Yeah, that's a great saw build. So, yeah, I think our fire is a bust. We tried. I want to start burning some of those cookies, you know, because we got a lot of them. So We've dumped gas on that. We've lighter fluid, all kinds of crap, and it just simply won't go. Pick. I'm going to give you my pick, and Bob's going to have his pick of the dead saws that you want to acquire. Mine's going to start with a 242. You know, that'd be one of my favorites, by the way. Even though the parts are scarce, I just like the saw.
Right. You got to pick them. You got to say why. I actually agree with you, but we should explain why.
The why is because they're lightweight and they are snappy for what they are. You know, for the size they have, they make a lot of power. They rev a lot. They're great for limbing, and I think they're fun. There's a fun factor, which, by the way, has to be added to the practical factor. They may not be the most practical because of the parts, but a 242 running good is just a lot of fun for me.
Well, part of the fun is 15,000 plus RPMs,
yeah,
which is what they do. The parts are very difficult on these. A lot of the parts on those are not available. So here again, that's one of those things.
You got to be a hobbyist.
Well, you got to find a complete saw.
Yeah.
You got to find a complete saw. And yeah, there's some stuff. I'm not thinking of it right now. Certain things you can't get. I don't think you can get any more top covers. I'm not sure about the starters.
Oh no, you got me a side handle.
Yep. I don't think you can get these anymore.
No.
The handle chop it. See, the thing, it's changing so rapidly right now.
Yeah.
You know, something that I could have got last year. I mean, I had a guy call up and he needed a top. Who was it? Well, it was Dustin. He said, and they're not available. I said, yeah, they are. I had one come in not that long ago. Well, I got one of the last ones because there are no more tops for those now.
Yeah.
And so I shipped one to him. Dustin does good stuff. He's also like a collector. He builds some mint things.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of fun.
That's not something either you or I could be accused of.
What?
Doing mint saws.
Well, I've got some and I've done some. I mean, some of these guys like him and you know, Mike out there out by Pittsburgh. I mean, some of these guys, I mean, they're powder coating the cases and building them up from that. I mean, there's a lot of time, and that's a labor of love too. But I've also found that one of the things that these saws all have in common that is why they get run a lot is these aren't all that pretty. You know, they've been scuffed up a little bit. You know, they're not all shiny. This is one of the ones. It's faded. It's, you know, 4 different shades of orange. Every part is a little different. So you know, these saws kind of get worked, and some of the real clean ones, they end up being semi-shelf cleans.
Yeah.
I'll take them out in my own yard, you know, and play with them. But
this isn't even firewood operations. This is about trying to clean up that hedgerow some more. And there's a dead ash in there. We'll take that. But like Bob said, we're going to take the brush cutters and weed whackers and clean it up in there so we can work. You know. And there's another large ash tree over there. So I'm going to wait until the leaves come off to get it because it's got a nice saw log in there. So anyway, I'm not going to bore you with weed whacking, but we're going to clean up around that tree before we get into the saws.
what you got to do first, buddy?
Take it right down.
Do the big one?
Yeah. Then we'll clean up the mess after it's made.
saw.
That's it. Had that for a long time. Had that up here a couple of years too. That stuff was a lot more solid than I thought it would be. That's beautiful wood right there. Look at that. There's no brown in there at all. That big one down there, I bet that's a saw log, Bob. You know that? You know what we should do this fall is take a couple of those out and I can get a truckload.
Yep.
And then the tops will be firewood for a couple of years out. So that's just beautiful ash wood right there.